Dun, 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 dun. It's Drew Erickson. Never introduced myself that way before. Okay, it's your Apple Sheep. We're back. It's the first live stream since WWDC. Very excited to hear what we have to talk about. I'm sure it's not at all related to the, early in the week's conference. It wasn't even last week. It seems like so forever ago because I've been making videos about it and stuff. But I can stand a little bit closer. We're standing today because I need to close my activity rings. Actually, I've already done it, but it's good to mix it up. I get tired sitting down for a while. But I got the live chat right here. Irwin, we got Bruce Greenja, Seb, Mac, Elite, Brian Gaming. It's me, boy. Hello, hello. Welcome, everyone. Boy, it's late. Do you ever sleep? I do sleep, but Tuesdays are reserved for the live streams that are going to be seen on the United States and most of that side of the earth. But these streams are held late at night so that other people in other countries can watch my streams as well. Anyway, what up, T-Tech? Not much. Not much. I'm not a knitter. Anyway, hello. What do you think about the Apple Car? Well, I hope it's a reality. You know, it keeps flipping back and forth between, is it just going to be software? Are they partnering with someone? I just really hope it's an actual car and not just software, because they got Car OS. It's essentially the same thing. Anyway, well, I'm in Canada and I only watch your late ones. Well, it works for you too. It's just good to have different live streams that take place in different times during the week. That way we can reach different audiences overall. Anyway, smart. I'm in America, so I'm going to sleep. Have a good stream. Apple Toaster, take care. Thanks for cooking my bread. Anyway, I am not an Apple fan, but I like you. Well, I appreciate that, said Mac. You really don't have to, but I appreciate the support. It means a lot to me. You have become my favorite YouTuber over the course of 1 week. Keep up the content. Wow, Oscar Salazar. I think you're not watching the right YouTube channels, because you could do a lot better. There's a lot better out there. Anyway, today I was thinking about talking a little bit more in depth about the iMac Pro, because I do intend on, how would you say, I want to make more videos about it, but I'm trying to think of how I can dive deeper into it. Because in my WWDC recap video, it was just kind of, here's everything that happened as fast as possible. And I got to tell you, honestly, that day wiped me out. Because for those who don't know, I kind of obviously overreact to things in my live streams, in my videos, in my reactions, of course, because I want this to be an interesting channel. So I'm not lying to you, but I am over-exaggerating my attitudes and reactions on stuff. You know, when I watched the keynote before I live streamed my reactions, because that was the first time I ever did that, that was not how I watched keynotes. I got pumped, but I didn't have to interact with the chat. I didn't have to record all the super chats. I didn't have to jump up and down or fall over in the chair and like talk through the whole thing. That kind of felt like a live performance, essentially, and I was very, very impressed that we had such a massive turnout for that keynote reaction, and I'm blown away that we hit, I think, 2,100 people watching at the same time. I don't think we're going to break that record until the September keynote, in which I definitely think we will, because all this is going to come back around to the iPhone edition. It's kind of been nice, actually. This WWDC time of the year has been really refreshing to finally have something not about the iPhone edition. It feels like in the news that's all we wanted to talk about. That's the only thing everyone wants to talk about. And you guys are tired of it. I'm tired of it. I had to keep making videos about it because I know that's the only thing people watch. And I have to make things that people watch in order for this to be a channel and for this to be my full-time job. So it was getting old, you know, every day just waiting for Venya Geskin to upload some other leak. Every day there'd be some other report. Oh, it's on the Touch ID's on the back, now it's on the front, now it's not there at all. It's just, oh, it got tiring. But luckily, we have a bit of actual Apple news directly from Apple. It's not rumors. And I have to say, I'm extremely impressed with the software updates we got. I expected that iOS 11 would be kind of minor. I remember like iOS 7 I felt like was a massive refresh because it drastically changed our operating systems end to end. And when that happened, I don't know if we'll ever have an iOS refresh as big as that one because it just changed the way everything looks. Um, but the year after that, when we switched to iOS 8, it was pretty minor. It was an internal. They changed Control Center up a little bit. They added a couple apps, but for the most part, wasn't a massive change. And I figured since iOS 10 was kind of a noticeable upgrade, you could see noticeable differences within Control Center, the app layout, all that was pretty substantial. Um, so I figured iOS 11 was going to be similar to iOS 8. You know, it was going to be kind of a couple little nicks here and there, but for the most part, it's going to be pretty similar to iOS 10, and I was okay with that because I liked iOS 10. I like the way all notifications and widgets are kind of matching right now across watchOS, macOS, iOS. Everything's kind of seamless. So I didn't think they should stray too far from the formula there. Man, they blew everything away. It's been incredible this last week playing with iOS 11. Now, don't get me wrong. I don't think all of you should get it right now because it's got some massive bugs. We're running into all kinds of problems with it day by day, and we're reporting them, trying to get Apple informed so that they can fix these issues. That's why it's a developer beta. But for the most part, and because the bugs haven't been a huge distraction, they have been hugely welcome updates. I love the new Control Center. I know not everyone does, but I love that we can screen record now. We can customize Control Center. We've got all these great intuitive new features like sharing Wi-Fi passwords with people in the home. You can just hit send data. It's been really great. And WatchOS 4 did like all the things on my wish list if you saw today's video. So anyway, did you get a jet black iPhone? Well, Zach's TV, I can tell you've spotted this old box here in the background. Today was an interesting day. I got rid of the S8. I've been trying to sell it on Facebook online yard sale for a long time. I really do apologize. I know a lot of people out there are expecting giveaways. Sadly, as it is, this channel is too small and my income is not big enough to support me burning money on giveaways. And sadly, when I give away tech, it's literally that. You are giving it away. You lost all that money. So what I've been doing is posting it online and trying to get people to buy it, and everyone kept undercutting me. That wasn't working out. So luckily, a guy in a local repair shop, an iPhone, Android, Windows repair shop, was interested in trading the S8 for a jet black iPhone. So that's what we have here, and I liked that he had the original packaging, so it's kind of exclusive. I got this for several reasons, in case you're wondering. And keep in mind, guys, if you're tired of this topic and you want me to talk about something else, Super Chat is the greatest way to get my attention because there's a lot of people in the chat. It's hard to answer every single comment, but Super Chats, they stand out, so I can respond to those. And if you go on Safari on an iPad, at least, I haven't tried it on an iPhone, you can send Super Chats from iOS. I experimented with this. You just have to go to YouTube on Safari, not the YouTube app, and request the desktop site. Find this live stream there, and you'll be able to Super Chat. So that's the best way to change. But the Galaxy S8 was getting worse and worse by the day. It was crashing apps, and this isn't even running developer beta software. It was just like I tried to live stream with it. You guys remember that, and it would crash the live stream. I would try to start again, and it would crash again and crash again. There weren't that many software updates. I really hated the microphone on that when I tried to live stream from it or when I tried to record video from it. The S8's audio was clearly inferior. The display is great, but you get tired of it. I mean, not tired of it. I mean, it's wonderful, but it doesn't always retain like that's the thing about designs. They're cool when you get it, but after a while they fade away, and that's a problem that even Apple's going to have to face with the iPhone edition and the iPhones to come after that. Is that design updates are cool and making the phone look beautiful is nice, but it's only nice for a couple weeks and then you're used to it. And now that's the standard. Now that no longer that is beautiful. So that's, I think, what we're all going to go through with edge-to-edge displays, and I definitely went through it with the S8. It was like cool for a second, and a couple weeks go by, and now it's like, I just want you to work. Can you work for me? And apps crashed, and it was not fun. Dander! He's typing in the super chat, jeez. He's literally on the other side of the room. on your gaming video on Tailosive Gaming. Jeez. But anyway, there's several reasons I got the jet black. So because of your guys' very generous super chats in this live stream, I agreed to purchase the black pods, which I have. In the black pods I got because I ordered them a while ago. Were not the matte black version. They're the glossy kind, so they wouldn't match my matte black very well. And I know this is picky, but I'm still interested in selling my old iPhone 7 Plus, the matte black one, and I'm gonna get that money so I can make more content, buy more equipment. But anyway, Xander in the house. Xander is the lead. He's my best friend. He's on the lead on Tailosive Gaming. He's trying to get that channel up and running. He's working on it right now. I hope.
I'm opening Final Cut. All right.
He's filmed stuff. He's going to be making Let's Plays. Me and him have worked on that channel for a while now, but he's also doing gaming news just like I do tech news. So he'll be covering a lot of E3, correct?
Yeah.
Yeah, because that's coming up, so good timing. He just graduated high school, so congratulate him. Anyway.
I mean...
What?
You don't have to, but alright.
Oh, how does the control center look when the phone is sideways, though? I can show you. Here. Like this. It just kind of comes up the side. And when you add more widgets, that list can just grow to the side. It's cool. I like it. I'm really loving iOS 11. They're saying congratulations, Xander, by the way.
Yay.
If you're not looking at the chat, are you?
No.
Okay, good. I'll tell you. The other reason I went with jet black is I know that the iPhone edition is going to have a glass back, and I wasn't too sure if I liked that, but I figured jet black, while it isn't glass, it's a good practice run, because I want to try to get myself used to the idea of having a glass back, and I kind of liked the look of it. Originally, I wanted a jet black iPhone, but because none of them were available on launch day, I didn't get one. But now, you know, I've got time. I'm not going to be using this for too long because the iPhone edition is kind of right around the corner. It really is the next Apple keynote, actually, now that I think about it. So that's kind of exciting. So right around the corner, that's going to be coming out. Pre-orders are supposedly not going to be too far away from launch day. They might not be as soon as the 7S pre-orders, but and I don't think I'll get the 7S because, you know, as of right now, I've got one too many iPhone 7s. But do not scratch the iPhone 7. No, I understand. I am fully aware of how delicate this front is, and I'm very glad that the owner of it kept the original packaging, because that was the primary reason I got it. You know, how many black iPhone 7 boxes can you get? It's so special of an occasion. Anyway, I do have a case for it. I'm not using it right now because I wanted to show it off to you guys, and I wanted to see if you'd notice it. Obviously you have, so thank you. Hello World topic idea, Foxconn. Yeah, I saw your comment, Scott Sullivan, on the latest Hello World. I think that's a little too tech related. I want Hello World to be a bit detached from Tailosive Tech, and I think that's a little too much. But I don't know if anyone else has asked questions about this, but I watched Planet of the Apps the other night, and I thought about reviewing it. However, I don't know which channel it should go on, because we have Tailosive movie reviews for reviewing, obviously, movies and TV, and books and Netflix originals and everything related to.
Did you just say books?
Dan has talked about H.P. Lovecraft on there, so just saying, there's books on Tailosive movie review, not by me, but I reviewed Planet of the Apps, and I haven't yet, but I watched it, and I just went, it's very bizarre. I gotta admit, like, this, they're treating it like a game show, and it really shouldn't be. The Planet of the Apps you think would be about a show about, like, developers and how they make apps, and it really feels more like how businesses work. You're, like, investigating how business startups try to compete with the big, you know, Apple and Google and with their infinite resources, even though Apple is producing these series. But the problem with making movie review shows and, like, stuff like Planet of the Apps is technology in apps is constantly changing, and TV shows like this take a while to make, so everything from the start of Planet of the Apps is instantly outdated because it came out like immediately after WWDC, and there's this whole half of the show is following this one character who's excuse me, showing off that his app is really good at pasting things into space, like trackerless augmented reality, like IKEA placing furniture in your house and when you point your phone at it. And then he's saying that he's kind of the revolutionary startup of this new idea of bringing, retail to everyone's living room via augmented reality. But right before this show aired, Apple unveiled ARKit and shows that, Apple's going to start building this directly into the App Store so that everyone has access to the ARKit capabilities, and it's no longer just that guy. So if you're a techie person, you know this, and if you're not a techie person, Planet of the Apps is going to be really boring, because that's really what it is talking about up-and-coming technology and strategies of businesses, of startup apps, but they're all starting up 6 months ago. They're all using dated technology. I don't see many people using the latest tech, and clearly, like, every frame of this show has an Apple logo in it. It is over-the-top exposure between MacBooks, iPhones, iPads, everyone's constantly. I get that it's their show, but even for an Apple sheep, it gets a little over the top sometimes. Anyway. Did you ever use an Android phone or Windows phone? Well, yeah, if you've been here long enough, you know I've reviewed the Galaxy S8, the Google Pixel, the Nexus 6P, and the Blue Vivo 5, and the Galaxy Note 7. That was the other one. I was trying to remember. None of them have made me want to switch. The S8 was pretty close, I have to say, of all the Android phones I've ever tried. S8 was pretty great, but like I said, all of its coolest features did not age well, because when you make a phone primarily focused on being beautiful, you're gonna get tired of it very quickly, because you're gonna be like, wow, this is great when you unbox it. A couple weeks go by, and it's just like, yeah, this is my phone now. You don't look at it as, my phone is so much better than everyone else's. Look at how little bezels it has. You don't think of it that way. You're just kind of looking at it as a phone, and at the end of the day, it's Android. And Android did not change drastically on the S8, and it ran into problems that most smartphones should not have. So it felt unnecessary in my life. And iOS 11 has made me completely love Apple all over again, with all the changes they've made, all the doors they've opened. Xander's nodding at me right now. WatchOS 4 has also been fantastic, given they've done so many things that I suggested in my wish list, and I felt like Apple was like looking down my wish list and checking everything they could. So because of the Worldwide Developers Conference, I have just reinstated all of my loyalty to Apple. The bias has been cranked up to 11, no pun intended. I just am totally into the Apple ecosystem now, thank you to macOS High Sierra, iOS 11, watchOS 4. All of that has just been reinvented, and I'm in love all over again. It's like reinstating my vows in marriage, if you could look at it that way. That's kind of embarrassing and cringy. 173 people watching. That's a lot of people with nothing better to do. If you could change or add anything to any iPad in the iPad lineup, what would you do? That's a good question, Tom Mitchell. There's lots of things I would do. I think that's pretty broad a question. I'll give you a couple ideas. I would love it if the not the 10.5 inch, the 12.9 inch iPad Pro, the larger of the two, had a bit more benefits, because as of right now, they're almost exactly the same. They have the exact same cameras, same processors, same kind of displays. They both have camera bumps, sadly. I wish that you got kind of a benefit for choosing the larger iPad, more than just RAM. I think that's the one stark difference, is that the 12.9 inch has twice the RAM as the 10.5. I don't know what the new specs are. I haven't gotten mine yet. It should be here this upcoming Tuesday, so that'll be exciting. You guys can watch that unboxing. But I would love it if they brought the dual camera to the 12.9 inch iPad Pro. Not the 10.5 inch, but they would just give you that incentive. That way the iPad lineup would be a tad bit more like the iPhone 7. You got the basic one that's pretty small, but then you got the bigger display, and with that bigger display you get the improved battery life and that dual camera. And I would love to see that dual camera brought onto a tablet, because I'm not against tablet photography. A lot of people think it's dumb, and a lot of people think you look like an idiot using an iPad as a camera. I don't. I think you have a beautiful viewfinder that gives you plenty of controls, and I think that's one of the beautiful things about an iPad is it's a great document scanner. You could take really beautiful photos on it and then edit them with the Apple Pencil, and I just feel like that's an untapped market. And the other thing I would bring to the iPad lineup is more diversity. You know, we've got the jet black iPhone 7 Plus now. The iPhone 7 lineup has 6 different colors now. We got product red, rose gold, matte black, silver, jet black. This is the most diverse lineup of smartphones we've ever had from Apple since the iPhone 5C. And the iPads are still sticking with their standard space gray, gold, rose gold, silver. They didn't even want to mix it up. They didn't want to do a matte black version. I really hope they did this time. They didn't go that route. I know it would probably look hideous, and probably not a lot of people would buy it, but I would be a little bit tempted to see what a jet black iPad would look like. That may seem counterintuitive and like, no, don't buy that. But, you know, there's Instagram Apple fans out there that would make it work. They would polish it every day. They would keep it in their case, and then when they take it off, they take these beautiful Instagram photos of it. It would find its market. I would love to see a product red iPad to match our red iPhones. If they could match the lineup that we have with our iPhone 7s, I would be extremely satisfied. Also, ditch the headphone jack. Don't need it. We're ditching it on one phone. It doesn't make sense to keep it on one device and not the other. I'm sorry. I understand there's so many headphone jack loyalists out there. Oh, I can't believe I'm still having this debate. I started this whole we don't need the headphone jack thing like 2 years ago. Like on this channel. I remember we got a lot of views because of that video. And that's why I'm here now. And that's why I have so many subscribers, is because I started this whole argument about, I think we can ditch the headphone jack now, guys. We've got better solutions. But no, it'll always sound inferior, latency, or it's too expensive. It's never gonna move on from that. Anyway, I love iOS 11, but the only issue I have is using Control Center on the iPad. It makes you exit the app to use. I have noticed that on the iPad, that Control Center is no longer one swipe up anymore. Now it is 2 swipes up. I can see that frustration there. I'm curious if they could change it by, you know, what they used to do to get a slide over was you would swipe in from the side. Since that's not slide over anymore, maybe swiping from the right would bring out Control Center instead of having to swipe twice from the bottom. I don't know. It's still in beta, so they got time to change these things. I can't afford a Bluetooth headset. Well, look, they still include Lightning headphones with the purchase. And they still include a Lightning to headphone jack dongle. Most companies that are removing the headphone jack include that adapter with the purchase. So, when you're removing the headphone jack, you're getting better waterproofing, you're getting a better battery life, you're getting added features that because the engineers don't have to design this giant hole in the phone, which as phones get smaller and smaller, the headphone jack becomes more and more obvious and intrusive. And I'm impressed that Samsung can make it work on the S8. I just think the S8 could be even better if they removed it and were okay with removing it. I think the R&D department would be totally fine with that. If you could look into the future 15 years from now, what would you rather get a glimpse of? The latest Tesla car or the latest iPhone? 15 years from now. Good question. Let's see, that's it's in the 2030s. Yeah. And I honestly don't think the iPhone is going to be drastically different. I think design-wise it's going to be noticeably different, but for the most part it's going to be fairly familiar. I've talked about this on the live stream before. I don't think that, you know, when we compare the iPhone edition to the original iPhone, we notice all of these changes. We've gone through all these updates, both physical and software-wise. I do think smartphones are hitting a wall of what they're capable of. And what I think this year is showing us is that when you run out of functional things to add to your phone, you go for making it beautiful. You try to, you know, that's why we're removing bezels. Why is it so bad to have bezels on a phone? I don't know, but apparently if you want people to buy your new phone, you got to update the display. So that's why Apple's pushing all these bezels back. They're trying to make the display bigger. Is that too much more functional? It kind of is, but we can get by just fine on this. Do we have to? No, but because we're running out of functional things to add. You know, our cameras are only getting so good. We got our processors that are getting so fast. We got fast charging is amazing, but wireless charging, new innovation. However, how much time does that really save you? You plug in your phone at the end of the day typically, and all that really saves is a couple seconds of just plug. Now you just drop. So technology's not changing that drastically. I'm sure it'll be incredible to us now, but I just don't think that we'll see the kind of drastic changes that we got back from the original iPhone to the iPhone edition, those 10-year periods. In the next 15 years, I don't think the changes will be as noticeable. They will be cool if we saw them right now, but personally, I would rather see a modern Tesla car in 15 years because I have high hopes that that is the next big innovation. I don't think the smartphones are going to continue to reinvent themselves and change the world for the upcoming decades. I think we're kind of running out of steam with them. They're always going to be here. They're not going to go away. They're just not going to be the highlight of technology and innovation. I think that's where Tesla has taken us, and I hope Apple is taking us as well. I hope they jump into that field. But I would love to see the Tesla, the newly announced Tesla in 15 years, to see what kind of self-driving capabilities we're going to have. Elon Musk thinks that in a couple decades, we're not even going to legally be allowed to drive our own cars, which sounds crazy, but I got to say, I think that's possible at this point in the game. As computers and engineers pour all their time and resources into making these cars as safe as possible and as smart as possible, that the government in all our federal states are going to say, like, look, we have now statistically proven that all of these self-driving cars are smarter than the drivers we have on the road. Because while you may think, it's a computer, it can make a mistake, there can be glitches, the statistics likely are going to be better than that of just your idiots you have on the road. You got people who get drunk and end people's lives due to irresponsibility. You have people distracted on their phones, which still happens on a day-to-day basis. Eventually, I think the Department of Motor Vehicles is just going to say, no, we don't need drivers on the road anymore. We got computers smart enough. Anyone can have a car, but not anyone can drive a car. You're just going to get in it, and it's going to take you where you want to go. It's like having your own dedicated Uber driver. Anyway. Would you recommend getting the iPad Pro 9.7 or iPad Pro 10.5? Funny you say that. The 9.7-inch iPad Pro is straight up gone. It is not in the Apple Store anymore. Is that right?
Yeah.
I'm surprised you were listening.
Yeah.
You have your headphones on, but you heard that. Anyway, thank you, Wait and Spit, for the first super chat of the evening that's not from this room. Oh, and there's a second one. It says, is it worth it to download the iOS 11 beta? Buggy? This is a tough one because it's definitely been really fun for me to experience all the new iOS 11 features both on my iPad and on my iPhone. There's been really cool stuff that they didn't even cover in the keynote that I've loved. And thank you, by the way, Pure Tips, for your $2 super chat. Love the channel. Keep up the good work. Much love. Thank you. Much love going your way. iOS 11 is definitely full of bugs, though. I think one of the big annoying ones we've been noticing is I have Verizon Unlimited, so I don't rely on my Wi-Fi in this house because we have AT&T out here, and that's all we can get. There's no Xfinity, Comcast, definitely no gigabit internet. But cellular LTE is what makes this live stream possible. It's what makes uploading my videos possible. With iOS 11, connecting to my phone's hotspot has been particularly glitchy. It's been dropping a lot of the time. It's not been consistent, and when I want to connect my devices, it often doesn't work. So it's definitely a handful right now. Maybe you don't even have to wait till...
Wait till the public beta.
What's that? Is that different?
Is the end of June, early July. The public gets access to the beta, and anybody can get it instead of getting the developer. That's way more polished.
So the public beta is likely going to be more consistent, and you're not going to experience the big problems we're having right now.
Yes.
We're getting all of the bugs right up front. One of the annoying ones is when you're on your lock screen and you swipe to your camera and you start recording something. the screen will still dim like you are on the lock screen and eventually turn off, which it's funny. They had the exact same problem with the developer beta of iOS 10 just last year. They made the same mistake twice. But it is a beta, so I understand that there's going to be a lot of bugs on this rollout, and everyone who's testing the beta right now is sending feedback to Apple saying, here's all the things you need to fix. So I'm, to be honest, very much looking forward to this beta 2 so that all of the very obvious bugs like the lock screen showing the notifications incorrectly or the widgets being all off, very much looking forward to all that being polished up. But as of right now, I would say wait. I'm not going to recommend getting it right now. Ibtihaj Khan donated $2 says, sorry I can't send more, keep it up. Well, thank you. Any donation is much appreciated. And again, you support me just by watching my videos. You don't have to super chat, though it does help. Has Siri actually been improved to compete with Alexa, etc.? Dean Diamond, I would say right now, no. I wouldn't say Siri received a massive upgrade like we thought she would to compete, with the Google Assistant. It could be a multitude of things. Right now, it could be the fact that we're in beta, so Siri's not officially ready yet. Siri's definitely better. I'm not saying they haven't done anything, but I don't think Siri has the full capability or intelligence that the Google Assistant does to access all of the internet and articulate, questions into answers so easily. Like you can say things like, I don't know, who invented the solar panel? And the Google Assistant is probably going to figure it out. Siri's just going to Bing it for you. I haven't noticed drastically better upgrades with Siri. She sounds better, and I think this is a big point to what I made, and I'm going to make about digital assistants. I have a big controversial opinion about digital assistants that kind of sides with Apple again. Big surprise. I don't think it's going to be the future of how we learn from each other. I think it's something we're putting a lot of effort in, and I think it's going to stay here forever. It's not going anywhere. It's just, I don't think that the replacement of Googling things and just searching things on your own, on your phone, is ever going to be replaced completely with voice interaction. I just don't think that's going to happen. I think we're going to try, but I understand it's a controversial opinion. I don't think that articulating what you want is necessarily easier than just using your tool to tell your tool what you want. Okay, we got a super chat, so we're changing topics. That's how super chat works. Boonier or DGI Phantom donated $5 in super chat. Thank you very much. Says, do you think the AirPods and other wireless headphones are harmful to your health? I mean, they are very close to your head for many hours straight. Well, first of all, I want you to keep in mind there are huge departments at Apple that are just dedicated to testing exactly that, how it affects health. They have a whole department that just focuses on what materials to use to make sure it's not irritable to your skin. That's a whole department. They manage how sweat interacts with things that you wear, like the Apple Watch, all the watch bands, your AirPods. They make sure that that stuff that's going to be very close to you, very close proximity, none of that's going to be potentially damageable. Now, of course, there's always a risk when you take something like a lithium battery and attach it to your body. The difference is, though, like, the thing with the Apple Watch is that it's encased in aluminum. It's got a lot of components in there. The glass is very strong, Ion X. Ceramic on the Series 2 on the back. And the same with AirPods is they're very tiny, very fragile, but their casing is very tough. If you've seen AirPod drop test videos, you can drop them on concrete and they won't die. They're pretty tough little guys. I've been impressed with them. I haven't dropped them in a while, but I just know that they feel durable. They don't feel flimsy. You don't feel any cracks in that case or in the AirPods themselves. Very premium devices, but again, lithium batteries are potentially explosive. The thing is, though, and thank you for asking this because this is kind of a tough question. The things that would puncture a lithium battery on a device that you are wearing, I think would hurt you before the device itself hurts you. Like, in order to burst an AirPod and get to the lithium for it to be potentially, flammable, essentially a bullet's going to have to skim by you and hit you in the head. So at that point, you shouldn't be worried about what the AirPod's going to do. It's going to be about the bullet. The same with the Apple Watch. I don't think I've heard of anyone like bumping into a wall or a door on accident and rupturing their Apple Watch's battery. I don't think that's very common. There's been some reports that the Apple Watch catches on fire, but I read later that Apple disputed it and said no, that's not really possible. We engineer it so that it can't do that. And if it does, it's an extremely rare situation. It's nothing like the Note 7 where it's just being recorded time and time and time again and they get recalled. We haven't seen that, but I just want to assure you that this is a top priority for Apple. That's why you pay so much top dollars. They go through rigorous testing, both with, like waterproofing for the Apple Watch Series 2. That was, they put them on rinse cycles in water where they were taken in and out for like a week straight to make sure that none of the components were harmed. So Apple's pretty certain that stuff like this isn't going to hurt your health. And Bluetooth waves, radio waves like that, they don't hurt your body. They've tested this. Strapping a smartphone, with LTE to your face and leaving it there for 50 years would not be as damaging to your body as standing in the sun for 20 minutes. By far, the thing that gives you the most radiation and the most harmful light rays is the sun, which you go out and be around all the time. The cell phone rumors of the cell phones giving you cancer or the waves being damaging to your brain, it's been debunked. Anyway, Jesper Larston, thank you for your super chat, says, Has Siri an advantage in being available in 21 languages? Yeah, I think so. That's definitely not something the other companies have top priority over. I guess I'm not actually sure. I don't know what Google Assistant and Alexa have off the top of my head because I don't really care about digital assistants. I think they're kind of more show than they are function. But yeah, Siri definitely has an edge there. You got me. May you do a giveaway? Asked Diamond King. Here's the thing. I've explained this before, and I apologize if you weren't around while I talked about this in a different live stream, but this channel, while I appreciate you guys treating it like it's a big channel, it's not. And I only just started doing YouTube videos full-time about 2-3 weeks ago now. This is my third week of being a full-time YouTuber. I quit my job at a Mandarin Ranch where I had a bit more of a reliable income so I could anticipate every month how much money I was going to make. Right now, it's a total gamble. I could make twice as much next month or I could make half as much. I have no idea. So that's the big risk I'm taking with YouTube right now. So I hope you guys can understand this, and I do apologize that I can't do stuff like giveaways like the million subscriber tech channels can, but I could buy really expensive smartphones and just give them away to you guys, and we can do comment and like and subscribe and follow me on this and this and this. But I really just want to hold your attention via my commentary and my entertainment. I hope that's enough for you because sadly I don't have the time or resources to give away stuff, which frankly I think when they do that on channels, when they give away stuff, the reason they ask you to like the video and leave a comment, subscribe, turn the bells on, when they do a giveaway, they have no way of checking if you've done all those things. They're not asking that you do all of those things because it's a checklist. It's like they're going to pick you and figure out, hey, you didn't subscribe and turn the bell on. Like, they're doing it because they want to grow their channel. But I understand that. I want to grow my channel too, but I want to do it because you guys are interested in what I have to say. You're not interested in, give me something free, give me something free. I get a 1 in 30,000th chance of winning something for free. While that would be cool, that's not how I am going to be doing things. I would like to do giveaways, and as the channel grows and maybe as my income becomes a bit more consistent and reliable, sure, I'd love to. I would love to, when new products come out, buy 2 of them, and I'll keep one and send one to one of you guys. But I don't want to make everyone who wants to be part of the giveaway subscribe, like, follow me on Twitter, Instagram, just so that you can increase all of your numbers across all of social media, because that's what they do right now. Make sure you leave a comment and a like. That's just, I wouldn't consider, and I get it if you disagree, but I don't consider that generic growth. I think that's people essentially buying lottery tickets, hoping they're going to win. It's a gamble, and I don't want to be a casino. I want to be a news site where you can learn and laugh a little bit about this crazy world that is the tech industry. Anyway, will the iPad Pro sleeves work well with the 9.7-inch iPads? I'll feel a bit ripped off for buying the 9.7-inch iPad Pro if it won't fit. Well, I don't know yet because I don't have my 10.5-inch iPad, which should be here this Tuesday, as I said. But I think they got taller. I'm not sure if they got wider. I think they got a tad wider. And since the 10.5-inch iPad Pro case is either going to be bigger than the 9.7 or the same, I'm sure your 9.7-inch is going to fit in that case. It might wiggle around a little bit. It might not be as fit, like secure, but it might wiggle around. But I'm sure it'll fit because it has to be bigger. Anyway. Ooh, excuse me. Do you reckon dark mode will be official? Yeah, I think if there was one thing to say that we didn't get in iOS 11, it would be dark mode. We had a lot of anticipation for that. And then there was the kind of dark mode feature, which was invert smart colors, so that certain pictures didn't invert where the rest of the layout did, but it doesn't really work because they still invert the colors of emojis. It doesn't work in third-party apps. Everything still looks weird. Videos still look weird. There's certain things they didn't update. So I don't think that smart invert colors thing is really dark mode. It works in like Messages app. If you use Messages and if you use Mail and you don't use emojis, I guess it's dark mode. But for the most part, I turned it on for a little while to see if I liked it, and I was like, this is just weird. When you take a screenshot, it doesn't save it in dark mode either, so it's really not supposed to be a design UI. It's just supposed to be for people who have color blindness. I wouldn't anticipate that is Apple planning out a dark mode. If there is going to be a dark mode, I would anticipate it to be on the iPhone Edition because it has OLED, so it could turn off every pixel that is actually dark. Whereas if we did that on the iPhone, all those pixels are on anyway because it's an LCD display. So it's not that functional. I've had some people tell me that would actually be harder on the battery life, which would not be good for people who already have a hard time with battery life. So it's a minor thing. It's like, oh darn, we didn't get it, but it's not bothering me that much. I'm fine about that. Anyway, new super chat. Thoughts on debugging through Xcode is now possible wirelessly, since we can now ditch all cables when wirelessly charging is here on the iPhone Edition. Okay, thoughts on debugging through Xcode is now possible wirelessly. Okay, I see what you're saying. So, we are ditching. Well, one possibility is that we are ditching cables themselves on future iPhones. It's now becoming inevitable. When is Apple going to ditch the port itself? So yeah, of course, you'd be able to debug wirelessly. You wouldn't have to go through the phones anymore. That would be, I think, a priority for Apple if they're going to remove the port, which they're not removing it on the iPhone Edition. Don't think that. But they're likely, I think, if I were to place money on it, I think 2018 might be a little soon to remove the port entirely, but I'm not going to say it's impossible because Apple has had a history of removing things before people think they're ready. Of course, I can't wait for that day because when they removed the headphone jack, or there was just rumors of removing the headphone jack, it wasn't even official yet, people were flipping out and saying, how can Apple do this? We need that. This is an absolute crucial thing we have on all of our smartphones. Apple, totally out of ideas. And, oh man, to see how the internet and the world is going to lose it when they see the iPhone that doesn't even have a port on the bottom. I can't wait to jump on that hype train and just upload that thumbnail. I can already see it right now. Because that big video that was one of my first big breaks on this channel was a picture of the bottom of an iPhone 6 with an arrow at the headphone jack, and it says pointless. And I just knew I triggered so many people because I got so many dislikes, I got so many clicks, and as a result, my channel grew substantially. I realized that when everybody hates you, there's going to be some people that agree with you. And I clearly found my audience. That's how you're here. And I can't wait to upload that thumbnail in 2018 or maybe 2019. Maybe they won't do it next year. But it is inevitable. I don't think it's an if, it's a when question. And it's likely in the next 3 to 4 years, I would say. It's going to be soon. Once they figure out wireless charging, Apple's going to focus on making sure the battery's big so you don't have to charge too often, because obviously you can't use your phone while it's wirelessly charging unless you lean over it like this and tap on it, which is not good because the cable you can just pull it with you. So Apple's going to make sure the batteries are bigger with their 2 cells and they have all-day battery lives. And they're going to make sure that wireless charging works very efficiently. It charges fast. And then they're going to make sure that they nail down wireless audio, hopefully adopt Bluetooth 5.0. Really kind of disappointed that they didn't put Bluetooth 5.0 in the iMac Pro. Not sure why they didn't do that, or any of the new iMacs for that matter. It's like, this is brand new technology. It works clearly better. And there's an iMac coming out 6 months from now, and that's not going to have the latest Bluetooth technology? Please? Come on, Apple. Get with that. But once they nail all that down, they're going to have AirPods or something like AirPods included with the purchase of your smartphone, so that you'll still get your headphones and you'll just get a little wireless charging pad with it. And that will be how you charge and listen to music. No more ports. Really going to be waterproof, though. If they have nothing for the water to seep into, I bet they're going to have pretty good waterproofing on those iPhones without ports. It's gonna drive people insane. That's what I love about it. Anyway, 180 people watching is too much. God, what do you guys need to do? AirPods need to be a better color. Those white ones look silly. Says Harambe the Gorilla. Oh, I'm glad you're back to life. Yeah, I agree. Like I mentioned, I've ordered Black Paws. They're taking an incredibly long time to get here, but I'm very pumped to see them. I think Apple should make a pair of AirPods to match every color of iPhone. Wouldn't that be great? Because Colorware already makes even more colors than that. You can customize if you want orange and red and a mixture of all of them. You want them glossy, or do you want them matte, or do you want them, sparkly? All these different options. If Apple could have, a matte product red, a matte black, white AirPods could go with the silver iPhone, but then you could have matte rose gold, matte gold to go with those iPhones. And of course, iPhone Edition could have black pods looking AirPods that are glossy. They match this phone exactly. That's the reason I want to use the jet black, is so that they'll match. Make some really dope what do you call it, Instagram posts. Black pods resting on a jet black iPhone. Oh, it's gonna look great. Anyway, we got a super chat. I got to talk about that. Pure Tips, $5. Thank you very much. Says, would you recommend Final Cut Pro for editing? I know you use it, but has it made videos a little easier to make content? Absolutely, yes. The reason I switched away from Adobe Premiere, which I've now edited with Adobe Premiere for about 3 years. 3? I started... No. I edited with Premiere for like 4 to 5 years. And then I've now come back to Final Cut. And I had to relearn Final Cut because Final Cut Pro now is drastically different than what it used to be before I switched to Premiere. But the primary reason is the optimization Final Cut has with your MacBook. And quite frankly, the fact that Premiere has no optimization with your MacBook. When you're like editing a 4K video in Premiere, it would crash on my MacBook Pro. It's very powerful, and it's not the MacBook's fault. It's not the hardware's fault. It's literally just the software is not incorporated with the computer correctly, because I can edit 3 streams of 4K video in Final Cut on my MacBook Pro just fine, barely gets hot. The fans barely kick in. But in Adobe Premiere, I would be editing basic videos, and the fans would kick in, the battery life would shrink to 2 hours. When you're exporting the battery life at 100%, could go down to 0 in 1 hour, and it's insane. Final Cut exports things 5 times faster than Premiere. It just goes really quick. The files at the end of your project are smaller than Adobe Premiere's, and like I said, when you're editing, no crashes, auto saves, which is lovely, and there's definitely some advantages Adobe has in terms of customization that you can't get with Final Cut. I get that, but for the kind of content I'm making right now, which is just kind of, the jump cuts, the cutaways, it's not overly complicated to edit. It's not 4K at 60. It's not 8K, if you know that YouTuber. It's nothing crazy, and it's been working great, and I'm going for something efficient. I'm not going for, I'm going to export this next video for 8 hours so that every frame of it looks so pristine. Because I'm ugly. You don't need to see every little tiny pore on my face. In fact, I've recorded myself in 4K before up close, and you don't want to see that. I kind of like that we're stuck at 1080p, and I don't really have that many intentions on upping this channel to 4K. I totally could. My camera supports it. Not going to do that. It takes up too much space. That's the other thing, is when you're editing and importing, it takes a lot more time to film things at a higher resolution. And Final Cut is just efficient. That's the best way I can describe it. Where Premiere, all about customization. I would say Final Cut and Premiere are very similar to iOS and Android. You got tons more options on Android, but Premiere, it's just not really optimized for that much. If you're on a Windows computer, clearly, Premiere. Go for it, because you can get Final Cut. Makes sense. Anyway, some ideas about the optical fingerprint scanner on the iPhone 8. One idea I saw is that, that I kind of liked in the chat, I think, on the WWDC conference, is that the Siri animation is now a circle, and she moves. And she even does that on the Siri watch face on watchOS 4. Perhaps they're making Siri move because since the iPhone edition is going to have an OLED display, you can't have the same ring on the screen at all times, or else you have burn-in problems. Apple doesn't want that to happen, so perhaps whatever home button they're going to have on the display of the iPhone edition is going to be dynamic, as in motion. And it'd be really cool if they use that Siri animation for the embedded home button, so that it just kind of moves slightly. That way we don't get anything burned into the OLED screen on there. And it would just kind of make your phone look really cool, to be honest. I would like that if the display is off, you don't have the always on display like you do on Android that has like the time and battery life and a couple widgets. You just have the home button on the bottom. That is the only thing on, and it's not a circle, it's just the Touch ID logo, with all the fingerprint, and it's slightly changing to different style fingerprint readers. That way, in different patterns of a fingerprint. That way nothing gets burned into the display, but when you pick up your phone, you know where the home button is, you know which way orientation to pick it up, because that's going to be one of the big differences with the iPhone edition and every other iPhone, is that when it's powered off, there's not going to be a home button. You're not going to see it. It's going to be under the display, which is something Android phones have done for a while, but for Apple, this is a big step forward because they have never done this before, and I'm sure they're putting a lot of time and care into this. Rumors say that the Note 8 won't have under-the-display FPS, so do you think Apple will have the major advantage this year if they are able to pull it off? Clearly. I even think that if they pull it off, if Apple pulls this off, and if the Note 8 keeps it, though I saw those rumors too, that the Note 8 wasn't able to incorporate it this year. The difference is Apple has never done this before, and Samsung's already done it with the S8. The only difference is that you wouldn't have that fingerprint reader on the back. And the thing with Android users is they've got, or Samsung users in particular, they've already got 3 different ways to unlock the phone. They got the fingerprint reader, they've got the iris scanner, they've got the face unlock. They've got these other options that I feel like, because of the Galaxy S8, they're not like, I don't know, getting used to the fingerprint reader. They're getting used to doing other things because that's kind of in an awkward place. The iris scanner is unique to Samsung, so they're probably taking advantage of that exclusive. So I would say that Apple would have a bigger advantage because the home button on Apple's iPhone does so much more than on Android, because the Android has 3 buttons. It varies from phone to phone, what other buttons are on the bottom or their arrangement. So this is no big change for Android. The idea that now this on-screen home button also has a fingerprint reader, that's cool, but I don't think a lot of people are going to be terribly interested because it's not something they've never seen before. Whereas the Apple iPhone has had this similar look before, where you have your earpiece, your camera, and your circular home button on the bottom, and that's it. They've grown accustomed to that. Now that the iPhone edition is finally going to be changing that mock-up, it's going to catch the eye better, and I think that's going to make people be a tad more interested than the Note 8. The Note 8 is not really something that's terribly exciting. It's just kind of iPhone edition rival. It's not game-changing if they put a dual camera and a fingerprint scanner on the display. That's something we've seen from other Android developers, and Samsung, from what I've read about the dual camera, is going to, I think, overdo it, because I think they're going to make the telephoto lens 3 times zoomed in instead of 2, like on the iPhone 7 Plus. It's just one rumor I read, which I think is a little too far, as in you won't get that same portrait mode effect that the iPhone 7 Plus can have. 3 times is a little bit too close. Anyway, is the HomePod made by Samsung? No, it's not. We had this whole keynote. Did someone literally ask that? The HomePod is made by Apple. I'm buying one. Which color will I buy? I don't know, because it's kind of an accessory, but it's kind of a standalone product. My standalone products are usually black, but my accessories are usually white. That's my contrast. Now they have both. They work together. Maybe I should buy both. If you guys super chat more often, perhaps I would do that. Oh no, some people are saying it's going to be 4 times optical zoom. That's too much for a phone, because you're shaky. It's not going to look good. Anyway, if you guys want Xander to make an appearance on the live stream, $25. He will show up here and answer your questions, anything you have for him. And if not, please head over to Tailosive Gaming. He's working on content for that right now, I hope. I would appreciate it if you guys left all positive and critical feedback, because we're still growing on there. It's clearly not as big as tech yet. It'll happen. We'll grow this up. But anyway, what's this video about? Just tuning in? Oh, it's just live stream. I just interact with the chat so I can. Mr. PR3.08. I'm just answering questions because I like to interact with my audience. And you guys have been pretty consistent with the watching. We're still at 180. Thank you, guys. My boy Andrew deserves some more subscribers. Thank you. I appreciate that. I don't know what I deserve, but I'm very grateful for what I have right now. Thank you, guys. Are you going to buy and review the new iMacs? Not the ones that just came out, that just got the USB-C ports on the back, because I got my MacBook Pro. That's great for editing. I don't have the money right now to review those, but I got to tell you, the iMac Pro is so dang tempting. Problem is money, obviously. This is the biggest problem with buying pro Apple desktop computers, is like, we want something that's powerful, and we want something that looks great. And even the base model one that's going to be $5,000, which if I am going to get one, it's going to have to be that one, because I have not a huge budget right now, considering I'm still saving money for the iPhone edition, because I know that's going to cost me a pain in the neck, and it's going to cost me an arm and a leg. And on top of that, the Apple Watch Series 3, if that happens, then save for the HomePod. There's all these things I'm reserving, and at the same time, I'm a human being. I need to have money for savings. I can't spend every dollar I make. That's not how I'm going to make it. I'm going to move out. I want to progress my life. I don't want to just stay in this attic or whatever. I could wait for the Mac Pro, obviously. That's coming out the end of 2018, which is a long ways away. And hopefully by then this channel will have grown so much that it won't be a question of whether or not I'm reviewing it. It'll just be like, yeah, of course, it's my job to review it, if this channel's that big. But thank you, Quinn Chanes, for your $2 super chat. You can add a comment to that if you'd like, but you didn't. But thank you. Oh, I see a comment right beneath by you. Any idea on how we will get to do slide over or its equivalent on iPad iOS 11 for apps that are not on the dock? Looks like now you must choose from the dock before you could swipe down for all apps. Yes, Quinchonis, thank you for bringing this up. Me and Xander had this discussion as well. The difference now with slide over is that you don't have every single app that's compatible. The idea now is if you want slide over apps, you have to choose your selected slide over to be in the dock. And a lot of people are like, oh, I have to change the dock around. That's not as great. But I think what Apple was replacing was this really tedious task of swiping to the side and just having one app at a time in your slider. You had to scroll. Just every app you had was in that side bar when you swiped out. And I get that this is different now, and it might be a little frustrating that you can't do it the way you used to, but I do honestly think this is better because I don't think we use slide over in a huge number of apps. It's really just a couple, and I think, for me at least, if that's not you, I'm terribly sorry, but for me at least, it's a few apps that I use in slide over that I'm going to keep in my dock. That way, they're always right there when I swipe up and I drag them on the side, and now I don't have to slide up and scroll. I think they thought that was tedious. And this is a bit more like macOS. They're letting you store tons of apps into the dock. And I'm thinking the iPad and macOS is looking a tad more similar now than they have before. Anyway, guys, we've coming up on an hour live. So if you have any more donations, any last questions, now is the time to do them because in just a couple minutes, we're going to be wrapping things up. How much do you think the iPhone 8 will cost? I hope less than $1,000. Says, hi, I'm Paul. I'm Pi. Terribly sorry to break this to you, but it's going to cost more. That is just inevitable at this point. Sadly, because of all of the things they're implementing into it. And you have to admit, this is a super cycle. This is a massive refresh to the iPhone. We've got OLED display. We got a larger display than before. We've got redesigned dual cameras. We got a glass back, wireless charging, 2 front-facing cameras, improved water resistance, improved battery life, improved processors, and of course, trying to build 3D touch into the OLED display. On top of this, there's rumors that they want to include AirPods with the purchase of an iPhone edition. There's too much stacking up. There's just not a solution to where the iPhone edition can cost under $1,000. I think it's going to start at $1,000, and that's not counting tax and shipping. That's, I think, inevitable. I hate to bring the bad news to you. I wish it could be free for everyone, but unfortunately, that's not how this world works. I'm fairly confident that the iPhone edition is going to come in 2 sizes. You know, we just hit 512 gigabytes on the new 10.5-inch iPad and the other iPad as well. The new iPad Pros go to 512, and similar, the iPhone 7 went to 256 gig right after the first 9.7-inch iPad Pro first went to 256 gigs, which is the most that they've ever had on an iOS device. So I personally think the iPhone edition is going to have 2 storage configurations of 256 and 512. A crazy amount of storage of an iPhone, but I think Apple's going all out with this one. They're going full on premium. That's why it's called Edition. And it's going to be $1,000 for the starting price and $1,200 for the 512 one, which obviously I kind of want to get that one. But who knows? Money might not let that happen. We'll find out. But it's sad it has to be this way, but I think Apple really has to go this way because when they don't add all these new features, when they don't reinvent the iPhone, when they make, the iPhone 7, which I thought was a monumental refresh that changed so much about the iPhone, when they do that, everyone complains, yeah, it's exactly the same. They've been reusing the design. Yeah, it's not any different. Now it's like, well, I guess we got to change the display every year or else people don't care. It sucks that it has to work that way, but I'm afraid it does. That's just the demand. What's your favorite iPhone? This one, 7 Plus. Duh. So anyway, thank you guys for all of your questions tonight. I'm sorry if I couldn't answer you, but if you want to talk to us more often, you keep in mind we've got our other channels, Tailosive Talks. We just had a live stream and a podcast on there today. Tailosive Gaming is getting more content very soon, some of which I am on. I'm on the Let's Plays, and Xander, my best friend, is working on gaming news over there, and he's just starting it up, so he'd appreciate all of you guys as new fans. My friend Dan is also working on his movie review channel, Tailosive Movie Reviews, which, again, I make appearances on. We work together on there. He's reviewing Wayward Pines, all new modern movies come out. We had a big talk about Wonder Woman and the DCEU. So we got plenty of content out there for you guys. So I'm sorry if I couldn't answer everything. Oh, we got one last super chat. Pure Tip says, do you think they will make a 4K Apple TV? I think it's coming, but there's been no recent rumors of it. But yeah, it's going to come around. I think we're going to get a USB-C enabled Apple TV that'll output 4K, even 5K. Why not? Apple would go the extra mile. So yes, to answer your question, Yes, I do think that. And if you want to reach me directly, Twitter's a great place to do that. Just tag me, follow me on there, follow me on Instagram for more updates of what kind of tech I've got laying around. This 7 Plus is the most recent member of my new Apple ecosystem family. So thank you again for all of your donations tonight, and I will be making more videos for you tomorrow. Hope you guys enjoy them and get a good laugh. This is your Apple Sheep here, and I will see you in the next one. Now comes the awkward time where I have to get around here and hit finish. This is weird. Bye.